All right, everyone, how are we doing today? Goofy Rexy here, coming to you with another video. So today is actually going to be the first installment of a new series that I'm going to be doing moving forward. It's going to be based on doing character reviews. So with character reviews, essentially what I'll be doing is I'll be going over each individual character for this game from top to bottom. Eventually I'll be able to finish all of them in total, but I'm gonna go over things like where to find the characters, talk about their kits, teams that they do well with, recommended T4s that I would recommend, of course, and then talk about how to use those characters. And I'll also go through a specific character grade that I'll give them. So the character grades are going to be great, good, meh, and then we'll talk about just your typical trash characters, right? And then one little fun thing that I'll do too as well is how do they compare to how does a character in the game compare to what it looks like in the comic books. But before I dive right into the video, of course, if you do like this video and any of the other videos that I've done, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Also make sure that you hit the notification bell too as well, so that you will know when I do post videos. And you can also catch me in my Discord. My link is down below, as well as Twitch. I am on Twitch from Tuesday through Friday, streaming as well. All right, but let's get right into it and talk about my guy here. As you can see, the first character review today is going to be on Spider-Man Miles. So Spider-Man Miles for me is one of my favorite characters in the game. I absolutely love him. I think he's a really good character, a good utility character that you can use to pretty much slow down or kind of affect the outcome of any single match that you're in. We can go through the kit a little bit later on as we go throughout the video, but the first thing that I wanted to talk about was, of course, how in the world do you get Spider-Man Miles? So it's actually not complex. Spider-Man Miles is right here in the Blitz store. He is, of course, just like every other character in the store, a 500 credit Blitz credit that you can use to purchase Spider-Man Miles. An alternative way that you can get Spider-Man Miles too as well is that you can go to the Blitz store and then you can open up some Blitz orbs. Now obviously, of course, you're competing with what I think over 15 characters or 10 or over 10 characters that are in the store. So getting Spider-Man Miles is going to be pretty much based on of course based on luck, as you can see with all these other characters that are in the Blitz store. So of course, I mean, not the best ideal way to do it, if you want to target farming, but if you can spend the 500, if you don't, then you can open up some Blitz orbs as well. But next, let's go through Spider-Man's kit. So what I think makes Spider-Man so good is that he pretty much basically can control any sort of match for you, if you're going up against certain threats that you don't want to get their attack off first. The first attack that we'll go through is just his quick strike ability. So nothing crazy, in terms of damage, right? He's attack primary target for 240% damage. Not really going to be much damage coming from Spider-Man Miles. He's not a character that does a lot of damage in the game. But what's really important, especially now that he does have this synergy with Squirrel Girl, who just got released into the game, who I'm super excited about too as well, is that when she is an ally, if the target already has defense down, then it clears 3 positive effects, which I think is really good, right? Especially when you play, certain tunes and characters like a Mr. Sinister or other, characters that give or have a lot of positive effects. If you're able to, if that target already does have defense down and and they do have positive effects, you being able to clear those positive effects is actually super clutch, when it comes to being able to to win a match. What if the character that has positive effects is a tank that has taunt and then it also has regeneration, like Luke Cage, right? Then you're able to if he has defense down and you're able to put clear those 3 positive effects from him, then you're able to allow yourself to get through that match a lot quicker than you would have had you have to deal with him still having defense down. And of course, there's other characters too as well. I think about Doctor Strange, who gets a lot of deflex, things like that you can clear if he already has defense down, etc. So just kind of quick theory crafting here that I'm mentioning. Venom Shock, which is actually my favorite ability that he has. Once again, not much on the damage portion of it, 260% damage. But the biggest thing that this attack does is that it reduces the speed bar by 50%. I love using this ability because this ability can be a massive game changer for you when you're in a match against characters like a Luke Cage. Like one of my favorite things to do, just because it's just fun to watch, is to look at the defenders literally quiver, in their shoes. When I use this attack on Luke Cage, slow down Luke Cage, get him to not do his defense down, which gives defense up. Sorry, to give defense up to JJ and the rest of the characters on that team. When you're able to stop him from doing that because you're slowing down Luke Cage, you're now able to tee off on the rest of the characters like Iron Fist and getting Punisher out of there. And then, of course, it's pretty much easy at that point to take on the rest of the team with no problems and with no issues whatsoever. So I absolutely love this attack. But other attacks that I think, other characters that I think this is really good against too as well, is characters like Captain America, who taunts like every single turn, right? Being able to slow him down and preventing him from taunting so that you can take out other characters is really good. I think about characters like Star-Lord, right? Using the slow to slow him, so Star-Lord down so that he's not able to use his blind. Stopping Mordo from using his heal block, stopping Shield Medic from healing the entire team, stopping Scientist Supreme, right, from doing her regeneration or doing her ultimate that puts debuffs on all of your team. There's a few characters, right? Shuri from doing her defense ups and all that as well on her team. I'm just thinking about things that you can use Venom Shock to do, Spider-Man Miles to do in the game. I think was a really good way to utilize Spider-Man Miles' kit, or specifically using this attack. You also have Web Blast too as well. Web Blast is really good because it applies Disrupt to the primary target for 2 turns. And it also applies Disrupt for one additional target, which I think is good. You really don't want to focus this on, typically for me, I find it's best to use this against tanks. That's typically how I use it. I use it against tanks like Luke Cage or Seal Security, or even someone that once again just gets positive effects. It would be really good to use this attack on. Once again, you're not going to get a lot of damage, but what you're going to do is that you're going to get Spider-Man to control the match by being able to apply Disrupt and being able to apply Slow throughout the entirety, of the duration of the match. Another one that I think is really good is also his passive, which on spawn first of all he gains stealth, which is really dope because Spider-Man Miles is a very squishy character, as you can see right here. When you look at his health pool is 71,217. That's extremely low health. So with him gaining stealth, it's the ability. It won't protect him against AoE attacks, but it's a really good for other characters, the AI, to not target Spider-Man Miles, which allows him to survive so that he can do the amazing Web Blast and then Venom Shock too as well. But another thing with this passive that I love is that on turn it applies defenses down to a random target, and as you remember before, right, that's what makes this attack so beneficial because he already applies defensive down to a character. The target has defense down. If they have positive effects, he can then clear those 3 effects by using that basic attack. So him already being essentially the one that starts off the defense down is really good, to have with Spider-Man Miles. Now, when it comes to abilities, we always want to talk about T4s. Me personally, I don't think Spider-Man Miles needs any sort of T4s. I think that you can get adequately enough that you need from him without using T4s. If you were to bend my back and break my arm or whatever, threaten to break my arm to tell me what T4 to put into Spider-Man Miles, I would say the only one that probably really makes any sort of sense to me, I thought about this one on turn, apply defense down to a random target, but he's already doing that. And if a target already has defense down, gain offense up, once again, it's not really that great because Spider-Man getting offense up is not good because he's not going to do a lot of damage anyways. That's not going to really add much to it. I thought about this one, being able to apply Disrupted to 2 additional targets as opposed to just 1 additional target. What if you're able to get it on, on two targets? Like I think about the Supernatural team. What if you're able to get, Disrupt, on characters that gain positive effects, on passives and things like that. But what if you're able to do it against a team that has Ultron? Not that you're going to really want to use Miles against Ultron, but what if you're able to do it against multiple characters? I think that that's something that would be, pretty cool for you to be able to do. But yeah, there's really no T4s that I would say. I mean, Venom Shock, applying slow for 2 turns can be kind of cool, but whatever. Once again, like not really a character that you want to spend a lot of T4s on. That's not really going to do much for you. And then, of course, this is just damage. That's not really going to do much for you, too, as well. So I wouldn't recommend any T4s for Spider-Man Miles. If you do want to spend T4s on them, that's completely up to you. But Goofy's recommendation is not to spend any, T4s on a character like Spider-Man Miles. The next thing I wanted to talk about, too, as well, was the teams that he works best with. I find, right now, the team that I'm using him heavily with is the Symbiotes team. I'm using him with Carnage, Venom, of course, SSM, as well as Spider-Man. Spider-Man's just there just because he's a spider person. Essentially just a spider person, so he's just there. But yeah, I mean, I use them with that team. It works very well. Now the symbiotes are very selfish in general. Like they don't really do a lot for the rest of their spider people counterparts, but he does work well with this team. He's equally fast as the rest of the team. He also he does negative effects himself. Venom is then able to spread those negative effects, so that I think works really well because Venom kind of complements a lot of the characters on that team that do a lot of debuffs, which is pretty much every character on that team. So I think because of that reason, Spider-Man does work very well with that team, and that's a team, typically the team that I run Spider-Man Miles with right now. He also works very well with the Brawlers team, and of course Brawlers team is now essentially the Young Avengers team. With Squirrel Girl, as we can see already, Squirrel Girl, he does have that basic attack that does give him some sort of synergy, with that team. So I think once again, for that reason, I think that it works, really well, to have him on that team. I think he really operates on that team as a controller, right? To do the Venom Shock, to do the Web Blast, to do the slows and the disrupts, right? I think and the defense downs, I think he acts more of a controller by controlling the entire field and then controlling the other tunes and controlling, and allowing for characters like Miss Marvel. And if I would say with the Young Avengers team, it's essentially, right, as we can, take a quick look here, with the Young Avengers team, you have America Chavez, Miss Marvel, him, Squirrel Girl. I think, an additional character to add to this team will probably be Captain Marvel. I think Captain Marvel will be a really good addition to this team just because she is also a brawler. She is super strong. She holds her own very well, has sustain for herself, can clear negative effects from herself. I think she works well with this team, and of course with Squirrel Girl's kit, her also being able to, as a support character, helping that team to survive, healings, clearing negative effects, and healing the most injured ally. I think Spider-Man Miles is actually going to have a little bit more sustain, and I'm going to do a video later on too as well about Squirrel Girl, so I can talk a little bit more about her as we kind of progress. Maybe I'll do a video on her next week, just to talk about her kid and what I think about her so far. But yeah, I mean, I think Spider-Man Miles is a very good character. He works well with the symbiote team, which I said is Spider-Man, symbiote Spider-Man, Carnage, and Venom. He works very well with the Brawlers team, which is essentially this team, Miss Marvel, America Chavez. I would say adding to that list might be, if you don't have Squirrel Girl, right, would be Psylocke, who's a very good utility character. As well as Captain Marvel, who is a great, he's pretty much essentially your damage dealer, on that Brawlers team. He works really well with that team too as well. So kind of wrapping up here, what I would say in terms of a grade that I would give Spider-Man Miles, I would say Spider-Man Miles is a good character. He's not a great character, but he's a good character. Great characters for me are characters that you want to build a team around, right? A character that is good anywhere that you put him. He's not a great character, but he's a good character. And I think that he works very well with a lot of different teams, can do a lot for you, can slow down, can disrupt a lot of other characters that you find dangerous. So I think for that reason he works very well. And then last but certainly not least, just a kind of fun thing to do, how does this Spider-Man Miles compare with the other with the comic book theme characters? So as you can see here, as I put up on the abilities over here, his abilities are superhuman strength, speed, and agility. His ability is also to cling to solid surfaces. The camouflage. The camouflage is something that they did put into this game. He does have the stealth, so it's quite similar to the camouflage, right? Being able to stealth and not being visible. Venom Strike. And then Venom Blast are very similar to Venom Shock and the Web Blast that is available here. And of course, then the wrist mount of rep shooters and the bioelectric energy. We see with his Web Blast and his Venom Shock, he does give off that sort of electrical ability there. So overall, like I said, guys, I think Spider-Man Miles is a good character, not a great character, fantastic character for you to use on a variety of teams. I'm looking forward to seeing how he works really well with the Young Avengers team. But hey guys, let me know what you think, right? Tell me what you think. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think about, Spider-Man Miles. Tell me about the ways that you use Spider-Man Miles. Let me know, what kind of modes or missions that you kind of use them into as well. I'm curious to hear, or teams that you use them with. But once again, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I appreciate you guys being here. Once again, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, so also as well to hit the notification bell so that you will know when I post videos. And also catch me on Twitch Tuesday through Friday, and make sure as well that you log into my Discord so that you guys can chat with me on a day-by-day basis. All right, thank you guys so much, appreciate it. Take it easy, and as I always say, be blessed.